Hey guys, welcome back. So this is a video that you and I both have been waiting a really long time for. So this is another set of PSA cards that finally came back in. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to review them because I believe some people made some guesses on the video. You know, we played Guess the Grade, which this is the title of the video. It was in the December time frame. So I'll actually go back and review and see if anyone got the grades correct. But I'm not really certain what to name this video. I presume we'll name it Who Grades Harder, whether it's me or the PSA. Because again, I also wrote down my grades, and so you can see the grades here. This isn't saying minus. If you're new to these videos, I'm guessing between a range of numbers, because again, we're trying to figure out how the PSA and how other graders grade. Granted, we've only done PSA send-ins so far, and we're finally getting some data back, so this will be interesting. Now, I would like to start, go ahead and start with the first one. So I guessed 8 to 9, and PSA says 5. Now, I would like to go ahead and start. If you're new, I always say the thing I don't like about these cards is I have a hard time grading them because there's so much going on. Now, we're going to go ahead and see what the PSA may have taken points off of for, and we have like ultra zoom on this phone. Now, as I was about to shoot this video, I did notice one thing. There is corner damage at the bottom left, and that is considered huge in the PSA world. So that's probably what automatically pushed us down to a 5, which was a huge shame because everything else about this card is pretty much fantastic from what I can see. There's really no whiting on the back. Oh, maybe there's an indent. It looks like there might be an indent into the card itself. So there's some indents, and but there's no whiting, and there's just what I can see is that corner hit right there. Everything else on this card looks fine. Still really cool card to see. It is a shame that we got the grade that we got. However, after reviewing it closer again, and it just sucks how fast and immediate the PSA does their hit. Yeah, I'll definitely agree this wasn't an 8 to 9. I think a 5 is a little harsh. I think I would have guessed maybe like a 6 perhaps. But it is what it is. 5's not too rough. We'll go ahead and move on. Well, I mean, a 5 is pretty rough. Now, Lugia. And this is a break card. I guess 8 to 10. And I'm actually pretty happy. The one we got back is, well, the one we sent in is a 9. And 9's pretty good. That's somewhere in between what we guessed, 8 to 10. Again, another issue with these cards is they're very hard to tell what could be wrong with them. There's so much going on. So I'm actually not certain. And the issue with this one is because it's a 9, a lot of people will tell you anything between an 8 to 10, it could just be your grader for any of the grading services. So I'm not certain what to look for on this card. I'm looking for the usual. I'm looking for, I'm looking to see if there's any sort of like border issues. I'm looking for surface scratches. I'm really not seeing any of that. Granted, the spacing is going to be difficult because there is no bottom border. It just kind of cuts off. I actually like break cards. I think they're overdone in the right way. And, well, okay. So I think I see some of the issue. There is a tiny bit of whitening on the top right corner. And that's about it. There's some stuff, it's like specks, but that may just be dirt inside the thing. Might be part of the card. So maybe they got a little generous on this one compared to the Espeon. Again, that's why I said the Espeon probably should have gotten a 6, not a 5. But 5 to 6, I guess we're kind of splitting hairs. But really happy with the Lugia. And so it sort of shows that our data is pretty accurate. I know with the first one doesn't seem like it because I guessed 8 to 9 and we came back at 5, but I do remember when I was going over these, I completely missed that corner. I did not see that corner on the Espeon, which really sucks because I definitely was hoping to at least get an 8 plus on that Espeon. Now next is a Dark Charizard, and we guessed 9 to 10, and PSA said 8. Now, this one we want to take a closer look at and try and figure out what they're talking about. And at first, you know, looking at it, you're going to say, oh, bordering, because it, you know, if you're starting from the camera view, you're seeing that it's already a very thick top, but the bottom's just as thick, so the centering should be equal. It's thick on top and it's thick on bottom, and centering left to right. It's pretty thick. So overall, the card is centered. One of the things that's difficult about this card is it has a very dark holographic background. Now there is some scratches, but they're super tiny. I don't think they're enough to justify even the minorest of grades going down. I have some 10s that have similar scratches from PSA. So I don't think those scratches justify being knocked down to an 8. So let's see if we can see anything else possibly. I'm not seeing anything on the front, really, of this card to justify it. Maybe the corners are a little bit different, but again, that should just be putting it in the 9s. Let's see if there's something on the back we missed. It's got the same centering. Okay, maybe down here at this bottom left corner, there's a slight uplift on the bottom left corner lip of the card, and sort of with the right. I don't know if I agree with this being an 8, but we're not too far off from our guess, and there's really nothing we can do at this point, so we'll go ahead and we'll take it. And of course, then we also sent in a Japanese Dark Charizard behind that. The funny thing with this is the English Dark Charizard, we guessed 9 to 10 and received an 8. For the Japanese Dark Charizard, we guessed 8 to 9 and received a 9. Granted, I guess it would have been funnier if I said we received a 10. And technically, I guess we could, as I said, when you are getting cards between the 8 to 10 category from any grader, they say it really can come down to whoever's grading it. And really, I actually prefer the Japanese version of this card. It just has a better holo foil, like the colors are a little bit better. This one itself also has more swirl. The Japanese one tends to have more speckles going on in the dark portion. In the English portion, not as much. So it's just a little bit easier on the eyes looking at the Japanese version of this card, since it's already a very dark card. With it being a 9, I don't think we're going to see what the PSA took on this. And I don't think we're going to spend a lot of time trying to figure it out. Maybe centering, but I think left to right, not top to bottom. Oh, maybe that? Nope, that was just dirt on the case. So that is cleaned off. Yeah, I don't think we're going to find out what we lost points on this one. I think, I guess maybe top to bottom centering. It is a little bit thicker on top than on bottom, but it's so minuscule. And I think maybe it just came down to the grader on this one. I kind of wish we knew, but it is what it is. Got a 9, pretty good. I definitely wish we would have gotten like a 9 on the English one as well, but 8's pretty good. Alright, so the next one is a base 2 Charizard English, and we guessed 5 to 7. And I guess we guessed a little high because PSA said, nah fam, you got a 4. Now, there is quite a bit of micro scratches and the holo foil. Now, why would I guess, I can't believe I missed this. I don't recall seeing that massive corner bin. Okay, then yeah, I automatically agree with PSA. I say 4. There's quite a bit going on here. I can't believe I missed that corner bin. That's pretty massive. I'm actually, and that's the reason why I like recording in my send-ins, I'm actually going to go ahead and re-review that video and see if I see anything like this on this card. Because there are things that I'm suspicious about with PSA. And by that, I mean in terms of how they're dealing with the bulk orders now, because all of these were bulk send-ins. So, because I feel as though I would have seen that. And my 5 to 7 would have been based off of the surface scratches, because back then I already had some cards that came back, and they came back higher than expected, and they had even deeper surface scratches. So I don't think I would have missed this. So I will actually have to rewatch my video on when I sent these in to see if this is even visible. And really, this is visible, well, I'm at half zoom. It's visible in the right light, but I would have recorded at 1 zoom. And at 1 zoom, it's 100% visible. So if I don't see that bend in my original video, I'm gonna have another video to where me and the PSA are having a little chat via phone call, because if this is done via them, that is unexcusable, in my opinion, that they would just go ahead and try and send it back and not explain themselves. So if we don't take the possible not my fault corner bend into account, I definitely think this card should have been a 7. There's really nothing going on with it except for the micro scratches in the holo foil. Again, this is not taking into account the corner bend. Taking into account the corner bend with the micro scratches, sure, I would say a 4. That's acceptable. But if that wasn't in my previous video for this specific set of 20, ooh, PSA owes me something. They already kind of do, technically. Again, this next one, kind of disappointing. We have Dark Dragonite up. I guess 7 to 8. I was a little bit off. And so we'll go ahead and get right into it. PSA said you got a 6, fam. Now this one, of course, has even more micro scratches, and sadly there's a buildup of them at the feet. As far as I'm aware of, PSA, in my opinion, from previous send-ins, even though it's only a few, they're pretty generous in regards to micro scratches on the holo foil of the WotC cards, the original WotC cards, the first few sets, because their holo foil scratches off super easily. If we look at the rest of the card, everything seems to be in order centering wise. It's thick, but it's thick all around. And I don't see any surprises at the corners, like that Charizard. I think that dirt's just on the case. So no real surprises so far. We'll check the back. Again, I said 7 to 8. Okay, so there is a uplift on the top right corner. Those little uplifts will kill you. The PSA does find those and does grade against you on that pretty quickly. So when I was sending this in, I definitely made it based on the uplift and the scratches, and that made me choose 7. I said 8, also possibility. The PSA ignores one of them, but it looks like they found both of them, and then they went ahead and knocked me down 6. Not too far off. I think that's fair. It's a little bit harsh in my opinion, because again, this is an ultra zoom, and it's only after I put it in the absolute right light that you see this. And that's kind of the thing, guys, too. If you don't know, a lot of my videos, I'm buying people's binders in bulk. I'm also doing a lot of buys via eBay, not just in person. Nowadays, I do 100% prefer to do my buys in person so I can try and see things like this. And we're also under, you can see in the video, like extreme white light that I've posted up, so I can go ahead and predict my send-ins before I send them in. If I could do this in the perfect environment every time with my deals, I'd probably deny a lot of my deals, or at least knock down the price significantly based on things like this. Granted, that's not the case. A lot of my deals are usually done roadside. I meet people on the road, and I'm usually meeting them at like a gas station or something, somewhere where it's not super ideal and weather is happening. This next one, full art coughing. Oh, I don't have written down which series, but it's whatever. Full art, I guess 9 to 10, and I believe this was actually a pack pull by me, and I got a 9. Now again, let this be a lesson to you. Pack pulls are not guaranteed 10s. I wish it was that simple. One of the things that guarantees that it won't be a 10 is because centering is a major factor for card graders. And for this coughing, it is a little teeny weeny bit off-centered left to right. It's a little bit thicker on the right than it is on the left. And if I had to guess, that's what nailed this card. Because other than that, on the front, there is no surface scratches, because I do believe this was a pack pull by me, and everything on the front looked perfect besides that teeny weeny bit of difference and centering. It's a little bit more apparent on the back, centering is a little bit more bold, and even though this was a pack pull, for some reason it seems like Pokemon cards really like to have this little uplift, although this one is ultra minor. And it kind of has it, looks like, on all the corners, and it looks like it's probably just due to the crimping process at the factory, so not really something you have control over. Interesting. Also interesting, I see a number over here. Are they all different on PSA cases? Let's see. No, I think they're all the same. 21. Interesting. So, not too far off. We guessed 9 to 10 because when we made the guess, we knew that a pack pull is not a guaranteed 10. Up next is a E-Series Reverse Holo Hypno. We guessed 8 to 10, and again, I'm really happy with the data set because data set proves we're pretty decent at guessing grades because we got a 9, and we guessed somewhere between 8 to 10. Again, I don't think we're going to find what the PSA found wrong with this card because they gave it a 9. If I had to guess, there is some micro scratches, which is super common with these E-Series cards because, well, the whole card is holofoil, and E-Series is the last of the WotC cards, and I do believe they still use the same holofoil material when they made these cards. So it's that really simple to scratch off material, but on the entire card. And if I had to guess, that's probably it. It's just the micro scratches. Because, well, I guess this little ding on this corner, I'm really surprised the PSA didn't mark me off 2 to 3 grades for that ding on top of the micro scratches. So very happy to receive a 9 on this card. 10 would have been super awesome, but it is what it is. Now, Salazzle GX, Rainbow Hyper Rare. We guessed 8 to 10. PSA says 9, which we're pretty happy with. Because again, it's too easy to miss things on these cards just based on our Espeon example earlier. But this one was easier to guess because this one was also a pack pull, I believe, by me. And I don't think we're going to find out what the PSA found wrong with this card. Centering looks pretty perfect to me. There shouldn't be any surface scratches because it was a pack pull. And the back centering also looks perfect. I guess maybe this nick on the bottom left corner. It's got to be it. So yeah, 9. It's pretty good. We guessed 8 to 10, got 9. Behind that is a Rainbow Series Flygon. We guessed 9 to 10. So if I had to guess, when we were looking at that Salazzle, we saw that corner ding. And for this card, we probably didn't see any corner ding. We guessed 9 to 10. We got 9. So that's pretty good guessing. I am sad we haven't received a 10 yet in this stack. And if I had to guess, it's based on centering left to right think that's about it. The centering left to right is a little bit more intense on this one than the previous cards, and maybe even top to bottom. The best way to look at these cards is from the back. It's not 100% true that the centering on the front and back will be the same, but generally, rule of thumb, the centering on the front and back should be extremely similar. Although the back centering is looking pretty decent. So I think for this one, it was basically just off the front. I guess maybe that speck of dirt right in the middle of the Pokemon card. Huh. Well, we got a 9, and that's all we can do about that. Not worth fighting that one. And we, of course, sent in also a rainbow. Oh, God, forgive me. Stack-a-Tacka? And for this one, with the rainbow Stack-a-Tacka, we guessed 9 and 10. And, of course, we received a 9. So that's pretty good. I don't think we're going to continue to try and find what's wrong with these 9s, per se. Because we guessed 9 and 10, and we got 9. So I think we'll just go ahead and move on. Nice little card to look at. I know not really anyone's favorite Pokemon as far as I'm aware of, but still, cool card. And it's nice to have it PSA cased. After that, another card that's very rainbowish, probably one of the first that are like that. Ancient Mew 2000. I may have got this wrong. I really wish Dave from Vintage Pokemon Hunter Brothers was closer to me, because I know he is a master of distinguishing the ancient Mews. Hopefully he's watching this video, and hopefully he is seeing any details that I may have missed. I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on the border. My guess was an 8 to 10, and we got an 8, ironically. It is thicker up top than bottom for sure. I'm trying to show him the details. It is not a Nintendo error. I wish it was. But I know he knows all the little details to distinguish the actual correct labeling of these cards. So hopefully I labeled it correctly when I sent it in. Amazingly though, this card has pretty much almost no surface scratches, which is super rare of this card because it's all hollow foil, and it's also that very, very easy to scratch hollow foil material. Hopefully I labeled it right. Hopefully Dave's watching and he can let me know later. If I had to guess, what at least starts us off 1 grade, possibly even 2, is the top centering, because it is pretty thick up top versus the bottom. On the back, there is a slight ding up top, very minor. I know it's very visible to you. Understand, we're shooting this currently with some pretty high zoomage on our iPhone, and it does a really good job capturing those smaller details. And really, that's the only nick we see, and I think a lot of our grading came off of the centering top to bottom, because PSA is pretty big on centering. But we guessed 8 to 10, and we got 8. My biggest concern with this card is hopefully I labeled it right, because the value of Ancient Mew's cards isn't just in the grading, it's also in which Ancient Mew card it is. After that, we sent in a Shining Volcanion, and we guessed 8 to 10, and we got 9. So I'm really happy with our guesses and what we're receiving back so far. I think this is a really cool card. This Pokemon was not around when I was into Pokemon as a kid. He seems like a very interesting Pokemon, so I have multiple cards on him to where he's like fire and water. This is a really cool card. I like how they went ahead and made the Pokemon Holo foil and not the background Holo foil. I don't think he's very popular from what I can tell, based on at least cost-wise. Again, I got a 9. I'm really not sure what we're going to find out what the issue was. It looks pretty good to me. Maybe it was this minor nick over here in the bottom left where my thumb's at. Other than that, let's just go ahead and move on. Hopefully people are guessing these grades right, or at least they were in the previous videos. We're going to go ahead and do a video on that, see if anyone did get these grades right, and we'll see if anyone earned or won a giveaway based on their correct guesses. Okay, after Volcanion, we had a first edition Jungle Holo Vileplume. We guessed 5 to 6. Interestingly, PSA said 7, which is pretty good, you know, considering we said 5 to 6. And this has been our case with PSA. We've guessed lower on certain cards, and they like to send us higher grades. You have to understand, too, I don't send PSA this in. This is my own sheet for the videos and me. So we can see how we did data set-wise. So why I probably said 7 was based on the scratches in the holo foil, some of the silvering on the side, and that probably would, oh, interesting. This, not as bad as the Charizard, this has a bent corner. Huh. That's also probably why I said 5 to 6. It's because of that bent corner. And some whiting on the back, and some more whiting on the back. It's very interesting that this got a 7, actually, and whiting up top. Again, I think maybe my one grader went and had a coffee break, and he called in another grader, and he just went ahead and finished up the card. This card got a PSA 7, which is actually higher than what we guessed. We guessed 5 to 6. Chalk one up to us. We grade harder than the PSA sometimes. Next up is a Dark Blastoise Holo. We guessed 8 to 9, and interestingly, we got a 9. Of course, very pleased with this. It's always nice to get 8s and above for your Blastoises and Charizards and Venusaurs, especially when you have something like this, a Dark Blastoise Holo English. It's always a really cool card. Blastoise doing a really great sort of like let's go fight stance. A lot of holo foil for this card. I'm not certain we'll find what went wrong. If I had to guess, the corners are a little weird, but I don't see any scratches in the holo foil. Oh, and there is, again, that lovely uplift at the, when you're looking at the back of the card, the right back of the card. Oh, I'm surprised it's got a 9, actually. A little bit of whiting right there on the corner. And whiting on the bottom left corner. So again, I just think I got really lucky with my PSA grader, and they gave me a 9. I'll take it. You win some, you lose some. Next up is a first edition Mulch race, and we guessed 8 to 9. And in this category, we lost some. So PSA says, ta-da, PSA 7. So first edition Mulch race, fossil. 8 to 9 versus a 7, quite a big price difference, especially as you start getting to the 9s. Really starts to jump a beat. They said 7. I'm seeing why. I'm definitely seeing corner damage to the top right. I don't know if it's like a stain or if it's just the waxing of the card. The thing right above the fire symbol. Very interesting. Micro scratches in the holo foil, but actually not that bad for micro scratches in the holo foil. I think a lot of it probably came from that corner, like right there, and it proceeds on the back a little bit. Some factory lines across the back, and a tiny nick on the bottom. So I think a lot of it just proceeds from that corner. Again, guys, when you're buying cards, especially ones in higher value, really take your time to pay attention to those corners. Minor nicks like that can really apparently hurt you on your PSA grades. Everything else on this card looks pretty fantastic. So we're off by a little bit. I'll accept the PSA's decision on that. All right, we're starting to get to the end, the last few. We have a Holo Fossil Marathon. We guessed 8 to 9. Ironically, I don't know why we didn't guess 10. And PSA said 9. So that's pretty good. Oh, that's why we didn't guess 10. There is definitely like stains up top on this card. Not quite certain how that happened. Very interesting that there's sort of like stains on this card. And centering's kind of off. It's one of those cards that's really hard to tell because it's all yellow. Centering's off left to right. Not so much top to bottom, at least on the back. But we got a 9. Nothing really to be too upset about. this next one to me is super interesting. I'm going to show you why. Because you can see on our data set, we're putting in a Dark Raichu. This is the paperwork that the PSA sent back in the package. The paperwork doesn't really tell you why, what got what. It just tells you what was sent. I must have fat fingered it, as I said, Pokemon Rocket 2 Dark Arbok, Holo First Edition, and PSA caught my mistake and changed it to Raichu. So I'm actually really happy that they caught that. I don't know if they charged me any extra for that. They possibly did. They say they do if you screwed up, but maybe they didn't. So that'd be nice. Because we did, in fact, send a First Edition Dark Raichu. We guessed 9 to 10, and PSA said 9. A 10 would have been absolutely awesome, because I don't think we received a 10 for any of these. But, nope, we didn't. But still, 9's pretty fantastic. I'm really glad they fixed it, because I believe a Dark Arbok definitely would have been less valuable than the Dark Raichu. If you don't know, Dark Raichu is considered one of the first secret rares, if not the first secret rare, because of that numbering scheme, which is how we number secret rares. I wonder if I lost a point on that spec. Interesting. The foil looks absolutely 100% perfect, which is super rare with this card, so that's pretty fantastic. Centering also looks super fantastic. Huh. I am wondering what we lost the point on for this one. I guess centering on the back, left to right, a little bit thicker on the left. Huh. Let's check the top corner, because that seems to always be getting us lately. Crimp, but that seems to be just standard factory crimp. What a slight whitening. Either way, we got a 9. It's a pretty nice card. Glad I got to share this with you. And now we're up to our last few cards. Last 2 cards is a First Edition Shadowless Machamp. We guessed 6 to 7. PSA said 5. Let's see what we can see. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and see if I can increase the brightness a little bit. So there is, of course, some surface scratches. Not to anyone's surprise. I think we have like a factory line. Yeah, that's kind of a big deal. With it coming out of the holo foil like that and hitting the non-holo foil, PSA takes that kind of seriously. Centering looks a little bit off left to right. Top to bottom looks pretty good. Not seeing anything instantly significant with the corners, at least not on the front. I do think a 5 was kind of harsh, at least so far, based on what we're seeing. A slight whitening to the bottom left. And to the bottom right. So for this, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with this one. 5 seems kind of harsh. Our guess was a 6 to 7. Again, I think this is definitely deserving of a 6, but it got a 5. I did not realize that Machamp was only 5'3", but they made him 287 pounds. That is one stonky dude. That is a super stonky dude. Moving into the last card again. Great hitter. Base hit Charizard Holo. Arguably everyone's favorite. We guessed 3 to 4. And PSA says 5. Now this is interesting because for the base 2 Charizard, we guessed 5 to 7. And they said 4. This one we said 3 to 4. PSA said 5. Let's see what we didn't see. So I guess we possibly missed this crimple up to the top right. Again, I don't think I would have missed that. I'm aware of the micro scratches. There's definitely a lot of micro scratches, which is why I guess 3 to 4. I don't think I would have missed that. Again, I'm happy that we went up a little bit. Let's see. Centering. That's thicker up top than down bottom. Left to right's good. Which again is something that I would never have been able to have looked for back in the day. But after watching other YouTubers and getting my hands on graded cards and non-graded cards and looking at things, I know what to look for now with that. It looks like there's a bunch of like stains or indents right here. So there's a lot going on over here. I'm actually surprised they gave me a 5. But, you know, we'll take it. We guessed 3 to 4. We weren't so far off. Again, guys, I think this really concludes the data sets. Obviously, we were wrong on some, but looking back, I think it really kind of just goes to show it's because there were simple things that I missed. Again, with the Espeon, the corner damage really wasn't very visible, at least with my quick run through, and I missed it. Of course, one that I have to re-review the video. I don't think our base set 2 Charizard had that corner damage, so more to follow on that to let you know if the PSA happened to damage it or not. Because we definitely patch our things right, as you can tell, on how we prepare things for card graders. And we also, you know, when we package them in the boxes, we styrofoam them, band them, reband them with styrofoam, you know, special wrap, things like that. No overwrap, no overbind, which wouldn't have caused that damage anyways. So we'll have to go rewatch that video ourselves and see if that bend in the corner is visible. Other than that, hopefully somebody won something. We'll also be looking for that. And we'll also be doing some other individual giveaway videos. We've got a lot to give away. We really need to, you know, thin out our inventory and rebuild up those subs. We've lost about 120 subs since we haven't been producing videos like we used to. And we're just really excited to really keep producing videos. We're happy to be back. And without further ado, that concludes this video, everyone.